All right, everyone. Looks like we're live. Actually, I'm gonna quick double check, make sure it comes across. Let's see. All right, do a double check. We should be live. Okay. All right, let's go. All right, welcome to another Chatgram Live. This is the first Tuesday of the month, which means we are doing our monthly check-in and seeing what's going on with Instagram. Basically, look at all the updates that they've done throughout. Okay, not all the updates, highlight of the updates, because let's just phrase it. There's been a lot of stuff going on with Instagram lately. And why is that making sounds go away? Okay. All right, back to it. We're going to be looking at most of the updates they've done throughout May, mainly the big highlights. And also, we're going to explore some recent developing news over the last couple of days, where Instagram has opened their doors in a way of explaining how the algorithm actually works. None of this speculative and rumor mill stuff. We actually have confirmation on certain things, but I'm saving that little tidbit for the end of the show. So let's get going. All right. For a monthly check-in, this is, we're just looking at everything. Why do I keep saying everything? We're looking at the highlights of what they've done throughout May. So let's jump to the first thing. Inbox simplification. Basically, what they've done is with business profiles, we've now seen. Most people should see now. I don't know if it's been a full rollout, but but majority of people should have this by now. What they've done is clean up business profile, the direct message inbox area. The big because it's with all the Instagram stories posting and all that, so businesses were getting flooded with mentions from stories. So what they've done is they cleaned it up and done some filtering. And because it's also making things a little more, it was making things a little difficult to see, which is stuff that businesses needed to respond to, and just quick little shout outs. So So let me just get to my notes. What they've done is with the simplify inbox, with this new update, messages will be sent to a direct inbox instead of that pending folder that most people did not see, or they'll kind of build up, because you would only get when you go into the direct messages, you would see you have X number of pending messages. So with this, they clean it up. What you can also what they've done is you can now star and filter messages you want to follow up with. So basically, you can star profiles that are say ones that you need to follow up with, or maybe the ones that you need that are your high engagers that are constantly mentioning you. You want to make sure you're seeing those messages. What they've also done is you can do a straight up inbox view, and also just filter it down to unread messages. Just things to make things a little simpler for business profiles to see stuff, because that's something I don't know about y'all, but when a lot of people are mentioning you in stories, things kind of get lost. Let's just now go. Let's go to the next thing. Oh, by the way, if y'all have any questions, just put them in the comments, and I'll be happy to get to them. Let me just double check. Are we live? Because I'm not seeing anything going on. And there seems to be a little bit of a delay on things going on. So, also, let me know if y'all can hear me. People that are tuning in, because I don't know if y'all saw my post recent. Was it Sunday? I now have some new tech gear, and I just want to make sure people can hear me. Things are set up properly. So when those that are tuning in, just let me know. Or those that are seeing the replay, let me know if there's any issues with the replay, volume wise and stuff like that. Because it's the first time. It's actually the first broadcast with this equipment, so I want to make sure things are being heard and seen. Because it also has a new webcam and new microphone. So, okay. So we talked about let's go to the newest thing is call to action buttons. This I love. It's now giving us another a new URL opportunity. What this does is it adds to your little contact option buttons. It's basically what they've opened up to is like reserve, get tickets, start order, and book. Let me add this up to the broadcast area. Let me see if we can expand that a little bit more. You can see, a quick screenshot of some of the services that are offered. I actually have this working right now with my profile with Eventbrite. It's hooked up to my link for people to register with Houston Social Media Day, which is June 30th. And by the way, anyone tuning in, if you're interested in attending, if you direct message me, I'll be able to hook you up with a 50% off discount code. So really encourage you to register, because also I'll be speaking there, talking about Instagram, of course. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Come on. Come and attend. But this is giving businesses an extra boost, because that way they can, it's like say like for Eventbrite, it has to be an Eventbrite URL. If you have a Bitly link created for Eventbrite so you're trying to track things, the Bitly link will not work. It has to be a full Eventbrite URL. Otherwise, it's going to tell you this is not a valid URL. There does seem to be a little bit of limitations on the Instagram side of things. Basically, you can't see click numbers at the moment. I am working and testing certain things. I'm actually on a couple of test accounts. I'm running a test event because I want to see, on the back end, is there a way to actually track and see what the registration numbers, in views and traffic coming in from Instagram. So some sort of kind of cross-checking things between Eventbrite and Instagram. But it's not just with Eventbrite. Say if you are a food restaurant or cafe or something that you operate with Grubhub, people can start orders that way as well. It's just an extra valuable real estate item. So when people go to the profile, they can start click that, start their order. Also say like Atom tickets. Say if you have like a booking system with Bookie, or there's also I forget what some of the others are, but and there's also more things rolling out. I'm actually kind of concerned. There's no one popping in. There should be people popping in, but all right, we're going to keep plugging away. Let's go to the next item. And that is the sliding emoji scale. Now, this is a fun little thing to do. It's basically, it's sort of a polling option, but people can slide the emoji depending on what you're asking, and whatever emoji that's when you can set whatever emoji you want to the sliding scale. And then you can basically people will slide depending on how much they agree with or something or whatever you're trying to find out. They can go to like say just a little bit or full on, and it's a fun little thing. And basically also what they're doing is I've seen some clever ones where they'll have the emoji slider, but then they'll flip it sideways so it's vertical, and then they'll have they'll attach like little indicators so you can see they'll add extra emojis just to encourage people to to properly say how much they agree with something. They'll have maybe like an unhappy face, frowny face, kind of meh face, and then smile, and then excited. Fun little addition to it. So that's another way to also and also on the back end you can see who what each person's response is, and it's a fun little thing to get your people to engage with your stories a little bit more. Let's go on to the next subject. Let me just hide that for a moment. There we are, back full screen. Existing Instagram posts can be turned into ads now. This is also something we've been able to do with Facebook. But but now we can do this fully with Instagram posts, and also you can do this with Power Editor or Ads Manager. Basically, you take your existing Instagram posts and make it into an ad. But one of the cool little things is the people that if they comment, like, and engage with that ad post, that actually goes towards your actual Instagram posts. So you're able to truly get more engagement that way. It's not just a separate little entity that's just floating around. Is that post is an ad, and basically all that engagement goes towards that post. So if you want to get something a little more visible, that's one way to do things. I know we're kind of rushing along. Kind of an actually nice things to just kind of go towards, and then work up to the big thing, which will be coming up shortly. But again, if you have questions, put them in the comments. Even if you're catching the replay on Facebook or YouTube, post your questions in the comments, and I'll get back to them. And so let's move on. Quick comment emoji reply. Let me add that there. Sorry, I thought I had a screenshot. Apparently I do not. Sorry about that. I thought I could have sworn I added an image to load up. My bad. But the quick comment emoji reply. Actually, I have not seen, as of Friday last week, I have not seen official write-ups yet. So it's actually something I've saw on my account, and I know some people are seeing on their account as well. Hey, Christina, great to see you. Where have you been? Just kidding. But if you remember my Chatgram Facebook group, you know where I kind of stand on this, but this is my official stance on it. I am not a fan of this quick comment emoji reply. It's basically all it is you'll see, like, you have your comment section, like right next to it, it's like you'll see like a little emoji symbol. You click on it, and it has like about a 6 or 8 quick emoji responses. So if you click on one of the emoji responses, it adds that emoji instantly as a comment. Why I'm not a fan of this is basically this is bot behavior. Yes, Christina, you're late. But that's the thing is, Instagram over the last year has painstakingly gone after bot services to get them shut down, because the bot services are the things that follow you, that like and leave like these sometimes quick emoji response comments, or these great job, great profile, great photo, come to my profile, like my content, blah 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 blah. We have trained ourselves to look past these bot responses. What does Instagram do? They roll out a quick reply thing that looks like a bot. In fact, some people have gone to the quick measures where you can actually filter your comments to ignore, say, emoji responses. So if you have those set up, and you have a filter to ignore, say, the quick emojis that are suggested, then you're already blocking those comments. And that's like, this does not make sense to me. This whole rollout does not make sense to me. Now, if it was, say, part of direct messaging, I'll be for that, because sometimes all you need to do is just send a smile or a heart, or I think I'm trying to remember some of the others. I think it's like a fireball, something else. But yeah, so I'd be for that if it was a direct message thing. But as a straight up commenting thing, no. Yeah, and like, as Christina is showing there, it's like adding emojis, in the comments is spam behavior. Yeah, I mean, we know, who does these comments. If it's just a quick little one emoji comment, I'm like, what's the point? It's spam. But Instagram decided to bring this feature to light. I don't know if it's a full rollout, or they're maybe it's just a beta test, and I just happen to be part of it. I'm hoping it's just a beta test and it goes away, bye-bye. Like when, but we'll see. Let's go to the next thing. Sharing newsfeed posts to your stories. Now I can add the image up to the top. Here we go. See if we can make that a little bit bigger. Okay. What this does is you can take your posts or anyone else's posts that have opted into this. You can actually go into your settings and say your post cannot be shared to stories. There is a setting if you dig really deep into the story settings, you can actually opt out of this. But even if your account is private, you still have to opt out of your post to be not shared to stories. So that is a little tip that you need to remember: is if you do have a personal private account, you need to go into your settings and tell it not to have your post shared to stories. But what it does is say if you're looking, your news feed, you'll see like that little arrow thing where before you be able to share as a direct message, and now on the very top will have a thing saying you can share. You want to share this to your stories. So you pull, so when you click that, it opens up stories. You'll have that little image. There's actually two different versions. This is the one that shows a little bit more detail of the who has said it, and basically the white sections, top and bottom, that it filled it in a little bit more. And so then people are able to, when you post that, people then are able to click and are able now to click and open that post. So it's one way to get your posts a little more attention, but it's also to give other people's posts more attention. So say like if you're speaking at an event, you can basically then that event account, you're able to now all of a sudden give them a little direct people from your stories to that event count, that post, and give them a little bit more love. It is not a full rollout yet. So be patient, people, aka Rebecca Consul. I'm not naming names. Not. Again, anyone that's back to, if you have questions, post them in the comments. Anyone in the replay on Facebook or catching us on the YouTube, my YouTube channel, leave them, post things in the comments, and I'll get back to them, reply back. And also, if it's a topic or something worth exploring, I'll add it for the next broadcast. Now, let's go to the big thing. Breaking news. Instagram dishes about the algorithm. This actually started making a little bit of headlines Friday when sort of like one of those, things that got published Friday, but, started getting massive attention yesterday. This is something that Instagram really has never done before, but this is all part of Facebook's transparency movement from the, because of the whole privacy stuff. What Instagram did is their developers hosted an event last week where they brought in tech journalists, and basically they did a breakdown of everything with the algorithm, and they even answered questions and busted many myths. And we'll go into this. So, I'm going to be looking down a little bit from the camera. Actually, let me go full widescreen again. And so I'm going to be looking down because I want to, read everything from the notes, word for word. Now, keep in mind, this is Chatgram itself launched June last year. Actually, it was June 6th last year. So we are hitting 1 year. So technically, Chatgram is hitting 1 year old. And baby's come a long way. It's gone from a Twitter chat to a live show. Almost every chat I've done, I have pretty much laid out these exact points of Instagram algorithm behavior. It's basically the three key elements with the Instagram algorithm is interest, timeliness, relationship. Now, with this article, what it says is interest. The algorithm will determine. And it should also state this is all. Yeah, most of this stuff I'm reading is actually from the TechCrunch article. I will be sharing the links in the comments after the broadcast, and I'll also be posting everything about this article. And also, there's another article from Social Media Today that went a little deeper with certain numbers. But all that I'll be posting into the comments after the broadcast, and I'll also be posting to the Chatgram Facebook group. But okay, now back to the three key elements with the algorithm. Interest. The algorithm will determine how interested you're likely to be in each individual post by first factoring in how much you've engaged with similar content in the past. For this, Instagram looks at how much each user engages with images, video posts, and then it goes, interestingly, the system will also assess the actual visual content of posts facilitated by Instagram's evolving image recognition tools. Okay, what this is saying is, if you engage more with photos, it's going to know that. So if you do a lot of when you're in your feed scrolling, and you stop and look at posts more than you look at video or listen to videos, it's going to know that. So keep that in mind. Now, what it also says, it says is the actual visual content of posts, and facilitated by Instagram's evolving image recognition tools. What this is leading to is basically their artificial intelligence and stuff that they're building is it's looking at the visual element versus your caption. If it is seeing a disconnect, or basically if you look at things that's social media news tip, hashtags. So if you look at a lot of content that has, say, hashtag social media tools, well, it's going to know that correlation between the caption and then what is being presented in the image. So if you look at a lot of images with that, so it's going to know that, okay, it needs to keep that in mind when you're looking at content. Now, moving on to the second element, timeliness. Instagram also factors in when the post was published. Some users have complained that they have been seeing too much older content in their feeds, which Instagram recently rolled out an update to this to address this. What this means is going to, the newer the content, the more it's going to bump it up. So so the more active you are in Instagram app, more newer content you're going to see. So everyone should start seeing less, say, 3-4 week old long posts towards the top. That's going to shove that more down towards the bottom. So it's going to give more, so the newer content is going to have higher ranking. And then let's move to the third key thing, relationship. And this is the major factor. And this is the last major factor in your relationship with the post creator. Based on how much you've engaged with them in the past, the factors used in this calculation could include comment interactions, likes, comments, and likes with others' posts, but also direct messages and post tags. So basically, if you interact with an account's content a lot, and also if y'all interact with the same content a lot, that's a tighter relationship. So it's going to give that higher priority. Back to each user controls what they see in the Instagram with the Instagram algorithm. So your feed is controlled by a priority system based on your actions in the feed. But then in the TechCrunch article, they go on to say, beyond these core factors, 3 additional signals that influence rankings are frequency. How often you open the Instagram app, as it will try to show you the best posts since your last visit. So if you're a very active daily user and you're, say, opening the app, say every hour versus, say, maybe once a day versus once a week, whatever your frequency is, that is going to be a determining factor in its algorithm sorting. So the more you check it, the more often you are going to see content based on, more often you're going to see content that's more fresher and newer. But say if you open it say once a week, you might see some older stuff just because it's trying to show you the important stuff that it thinks you need to see. And then also following, if you follow a lot of people, Instagram will be picking from a wider breadth of authors, so you might see less of any specific person. So back to, don't follow accounts that you don't want to see content from. The whole follow or follow thing doesn't work in your favor. You want to follow accounts where you want to see content from them. So don't follow thousands of accounts. Basically, that's a lot of stuff it has to sort through to determine what you like. And, so if you follow a lot of, I tell people, you want to do a clean out. If you don't like their content, don't, and all that, unfollow. Now, there is an option, now where instead of saying unfollow, you can mute them. This is something that, we kind of talked about last time for the May check-in. You can mute accounts. Well, most people can. It hasn't been fully rolled out yet. I still don't have it. So if you want to avoid the whole unfollow a friend or whatever, but you just don't want to see their content, you can actually mute them if you have the option. I'm still waiting for the option. It's still rolling out. So hopefully soon, because there are a few people that I follow. And I'll be honest, I don't want to see their content, but I just don't want to, get into the whole situation. Well, why do you unfollow me? But it's also, okay, kind of went down a little bit of a rabbit hole there. But on the usage part, this is the next, thing that kind of address is how long you spend on Instagram determines if you're seeing the best posts during short sessions. And it's digging deeper into its catalog if you spend, more time browsing. And it's just back to the whole thing of the Instagram algorithm it's whatever you make of it. So if you engage with certain accounts all the time, it's going to give you that stuff. It's just basically you are in full control. So none of this whole hiding stuff, which is actually, okay, that's like true, Christina. Post every 5 minutes, mute it. It's now one of the things I will get into in just a moment is some of these myths, which kind of ties a little bit into frequent posters, and we know who they are. Now, okay, let's into the Instagram myth busting section of the TechCrunch article. Now they did mention that there, some of this stuff, TechCrunch can't verify the accuracy of some of these claims, but this is what Instagram team told them, and I will stand by the Instagram team. It's basically, is I'm going off on what I've seen, by my sources, and so it's like I will stand with Instagram's team on these things. Now, first one is Instagram is not at this time considering an option to see the old reverse chronological feed because it doesn't want to add more complexity. Basically, users might forget what feed they're set to, but it is listening to users who dislike the algorithm. They are listening to you, but just at the moment, Instagram is not investing in creating a chronological order option. So for the algorithm haters, sorry, not sorry. It's just I will stand as the algorithm can be your best friend, your BFF, if you work with it. Basically, you can just accept the fact. Algorithm's here to stay, people. But it can work in your favor if you work with it. Now, next thing is Instagram does not hide posts in the feed, and you'll see everything posted by everyone if you follow, if you keep scrolling. It's basically, as long as you're active on Instagram, you will see all the content. Now, I understand sometimes there is not enough time in the day. I get that. There are times where I'm barely on Instagram, but it's just but that's what it gets back to the whole conspiracy theory that Instagram only shows you say like 10% of your content of the people you follow. We all a lot of us remember that dreaded little thing that came out in January. Basically, this is debunking the whole hiding post. It doesn't hide; it prioritizes. So the more active you are on Instagram, more content you're going to see. Now, if you don't spend a lot of time on Instagram, you are going to miss out on content, but it's not hiding it. It's just you're hiding from Instagram. Feed ranking does not favor the photo or video format universally, but people's feeds are tuned based on what kind of content they engage with. So if you never stop to watch videos, you might see fewer of them. That goes back to what I was mentioning earlier. It's basically it's not say like, where at time Facebook algorithm favored videos over photos. It's not happening here on Instagram. Basically is what you interact with is what it determines to show you. So if you interact more with photos, it's going to show you more photos over video. Instagram feed does not favor users who use stories, live, or other features within the app. So back to this whole myth of, well, if I do more stories and live, it's going to help my newsfeed content. No, it does not work that way. Newsfeed operates by itself. Stories operates by itself. Live operates by itself. So they're all independent, but they're all within the same app. Now, there are some ways to help stories benefit your feed, like, say, sharing your post to a story. So, there is some ways to connect them, but overall, it does not truly, provide a benefit per se. It's just, you got to make it work. So, so if you're, because there was a part of that thing in January, it said, it's like, well, as long as you use stories and live and newsfeed, it's basically, it's going to help your newsfeed. Not necessarily. That is like, if you share your posts to stories, you could, make it, get some higher engagement, but there's not a direct connection between posting more stories and higher engagement on your newsfeed posts. There just isn't. Instagram doesn't downrank users for posting too frequently or for other specific behaviors, but it might swap in other content in between someone's if they are rapid fire, doing their rapid fire separate posts. So say people that post 5 images within an hour, you might see a couple of them back to back, but then it's going to try and push in other content to kind of break it up. So that's, but also people, I really don't recommend doing rapid fire posts as Instagram newsfeed. That's what stories are for. And then we have Instagram does not give extra feed presence to personal accounts or business accounts, so switching won't help your reach. Back to the whole myth of, well, if I switch to business profile, my engagement's going to drop. No, it won't. Now, there might be a little asterisk at the end of that sentence. Now, what I have seen is, say, the first week or two after you've switched, there might be a little droppage, but that's because you've now told it, I'm now a business profile, and there are other factors that we need to know about, like all the inside stuff. So there might, so what Instagram might do, there might be a recalibration period, but overall your engagement will not drop. Now, I've saved the best bullet for last. Shadow banning is not a real thing. And Instagram says it does not hide people's content for posting too many hashtags or other actions. Hallelujah. Shadow banning is not real. I've been saying this for a while. Other people have been saying this for a while, but the people have chose to believe in certain sources that did not fact check. Because all shadow banning started because some photographers noticed that their content wasn't showing up in hashtags. Problem with that was it was during a period where there was a coding error in Instagram where hashtags were not working at all. But they jumped to the conclusion that that Instagram was secretly hiding their content. No. But unfortunately, when that got, when people try to squish that, then shadow banning has literally become the boogie monster of Instagram. or is it, what's the newest one, Slenderman or whatever, this whole mythical being. Basically people have tacked on for poor performance of a post to being, well, Instagram is shadow banning. No, there is no such thing as shadow banning. Instagram is now saying it, finally. Not shadow banning does not exist. Basically, there are factors you need to consider. If your post for some reason isn't performing quite up to par as some of your other content, there are factors you need to consider. First, but here's the first thing I tell people now. If you're comparing your content from now to the early part of 2017, no. That is comparing apples versus cucumbers. I'm not going to do an apples versus oranges, apples versus cucumbers. The early part of 2017 is basically, actually, let me rephrase it. Instagram made a bold move in April of 2017. They declared war on bots. They started getting bot services shut down. Those are the auto liking and auto comments and auto following. When they started shutting those things down, guess what? You started getting less likes, less comments, less, not as quite as big as follower, increase. Where people are saying, well, I used to get like 2,000 followers a month. Now I'm maybe getting 400. Well, guess what? You're not getting all the bot followers. Now, don't remember, there are still bots out there. Basically, as soon as you take down a few more pop up. It's like freaking whack-a-mole. But here's the thing. Basically, so you cannot compare your content right now, say, to the early part of 2017. There's also, you got to remember this, you got to know is every couple of months, they shut down more bot services. So yeah, over time, the likes and comments have gone down. We're getting more truer and truer numbers. Basically, I know, okay, my content may get 20 or 40 likes, but I also know those are real, almost 95% are probably real likes. I know I still get the bots, I get still bot comments, and I'll still call them out. But we are getting back to the truer and truer numbers. But it's also, you need to look at your engagement rate per post. I still rock between a 4 to 6% engagement rate per post. That's good. It hasn't dipped. So anyone that says that their engagement rate has dropped, well, potentially, because there was some droppage with the algorithm switch, but there's been some drop with the bot shutdowns. So you got to keep that in. That's one factor you need to keep in mind when with the whole shadow banning. Now another thing is you got to keep in mind is you might be posting at the wrong time of day. This is where Instagram Insights comes in. You need to look at your insights because you could be just posting at the wrong time of day. There's also look at your hashtags. Are they good hashtags? Are you using the right ones? Instagram, can potentially penalize if you use the same hashtags over and over. And I mean verbatim. It's basically if you use the exact same 20 hashtags, it could look weird. It could be a flag. I say it could be. It hasn't really truly been proven yet. But that's just one thing to keep in mind. It's just use more, what I call more post-specific hashtags. Basically, you want to have, say, your core, but you want to make sure you're using hashtags that are specific to that post. Not just not just slap on your regular hashtags. You want to mix it up, people. Now, another thing you also need to consider, okay, wrong, maybe, so we talked about, the war on bots, maybe posting the wrong time of day, possibly the hashtags. Here's another reason why your content may not be performing well. Your content may just suck. There's no easier way to put it. It's just your content may just suck. It may just not resonate with your followers. And I'll admit there are times where I post something and it falls flat. So I'm like, okay, And look at, well, that was probably the ideal time. The hashtags are good. It just may not have resonated with my audience. I'm like, okay, noted, and I try not to repeat that type of content again. But make sure you sort of do a little bit of A/B testing. Is maybe maybe similar style, but maybe it's just the language, or it could be the image. If your image is just not resonating with people, they're just going to keep scrolling. It's basically, you need to look at it and say, like, how can I make people stop scrolling? It's basically, how do you put the brakes on that thumb or index finger or whatever finger you use to scroll? What can you do to get people to stop? So with all this being said and done, shadow banning is not real. And unfortunately, I know people are still going to argue with this. I'm realistic. I know this is not the final nail in the coffin. There's going to be shadow banning diehards that they're going to say, well, this is, Instagram's lying. They're just saying this so people, to make sure people are going to spend more money to, make sure to boost posts or whatever, But I will argue to my grave that shadow banning does not exist, at least on Instagram. There have been proven versions of shadow banning on Twitter. And I think even Twitter itself said it. They do some shadow banning practices. But on Instagram, there is no shadow banning practice by Instagram itself. But there are things you can be doing to, yourself that causes a post to not be as seen. And so, basically you could be doing shadow banning yourself in a way. Let's just kind of say it. It's basically, if you post stuff at the wrong time, wrong day, bad hashtags, and then just also bad content. It's back to quality of content. And it's also, if you're posting too much per day, guess what? Basically, if you post, say, more than once a day, you're basically pushing the previous content further down. So that content may not get as much likes or comments because people, will just be scrolling. And let's just also, back to the rapid fire posters. If you post more than, say, if you do like, say, 5 posts within an hour, guess what? I'm going to keep scrolling. I'd be like, he's posting again. Or she's posting again. Or it's just, so you want to make sure you're posting at the right frequency. That is, I post maybe once or twice a week now on my newsfeed, and I still have a 4 to 6% engagement rate per post. But it's also, I utilize stories. I don't really do Instagram Live a lot. It's actually not one of my favorite live, broadcasts, because Instagram Live can get a little glitchy. I will say is Instagram Live is not perfect yet. That's why I'm doing this show with Facebook Live, not Instagram. It's also, say, like, you have an hour-long broadcast length on Instagram, whereas Facebook, I don't have to worry about that hour-long marker, because I know I'm okay at the 45-minute marker, and I know I have 15 minutes to go, and I could go longer, or I may not, but in which I'm actually not, because I'm going to be wrapping this up in just a few minutes, just because I don't know about y'all, but I'm hungry and I want lunch, because it's 12:45 and all I've had is a protein shake and 3 cups of coffee. I need food. But I think that kind of ended. Now that I'm talking about food, I think that kind of ends my rant on the whole shadow banning. I know people are going to still say it exists, but it doesn't. I will argue and argue with people on that. It doesn't exist. So now that we've cleared that up, let's, if there are, actually, before I do that, back to questions. It's also, if you're watching this on a replay on Facebook or on YouTube, feel free to post questions or comment, into the comments. If you have topic suggestions, post them away. So I can address them in the comments, or I'll say like, hey, that's a great topic. I'll see what we can do to make that topic happen. Now, let's do a quick little plug for next Chatgram. We're going to be back again on June 19th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time with my awesome buddy Monica from Elevate It Now. We're going to be talking about how local businesses can use how to use Instagram marketing, because she works a lot with real estate, small businesses, credit unions. So she works a lot with it on the local front, and so I want to bring her in because I will be honest, real estate is not my strongest area. I'll actually go into more detail as to why, with her, because let's just say, there's been a little bit of bad blood with me in real estate, but we'll get into that on that week. But I'm really excited to have her and get her take on how local businesses can really utilize Instagram marketing. So be sure to tune in next time, June 19th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And as always, this will be the replay will be on my Facebook page, and this is going to also be loaded onto YouTube. So if you're catching the replay on either one, if you have questions or comments or topics or whatever, put them in the comments, and I'll get back to you on it. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a hoot. I'm also a little winded from that little rant, but more like a little bit of a vent, because it's just finally some vindication on the whole shadow banning. Okay, I'm done. Yeah. I need to go cool off, get some food. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in, and look forward to seeing y'all again next time. Thank you. Have a good one.